Alright, here it is, Zendikar Rising Set Boosters, the list. You're looking at it, there's a lot of good stuff, there's a lot of bad stuff. If you are here to get a condensed version of what the best reprints on the list are, you are in the right place. We're going to talk about the 20 best reprints on Zendikar Rising's The List in Set Boosters. We're also going to talk about the 20 worst cards as well. Video starts right now.
Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below.
Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. I'm Jake. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Our Magic. Today we are talking about Zendikar Rising, the list from Set Boosters. Set Boosters, kind of like the middle product between a normal draft booster and a collector booster. There's 300 cards on this list. We're not going to go over all of them. I am going to put links if you want to go ahead and look at the list yourself. Today we're going to be talking about the 20 most impactful reprints. Hint, hint. It's related to your wallet. What is your wallet gonna like the most when you open it? We're gonna talk about those 20 cards. We're also gonna talk about some of the epic misses that you could get if you like these reviews. Click like, click subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel with just the click of a button. So we're seeing some fun stuff here like Phyrexian Obliterator, Pact of Negation, Gideon Ally of Zendikar. We're seeing some bad stuff like Nightshade Peddler and Anointed Priest. Who's here to sort it all out? Well, I am. Had a meeting yesterday with some MTG enthusiasts that I frequently talk to. And, we talked about this in the reserve list, but we're talking about this today, and I'm not going to break down what is in a set booster. Today, I am specifically talking about what is in this list. What are the best cards from it? I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the cards so that you can watch our review on what a set booster is. We've already done that video. So if you want to watch that and come back, I just put that video in the cards. So essentially what happened was on Twitter on September 9th, 3 videos were released by Wizards Magic. And this is what they were like. Each video had, I believe, like 80 something cards, 90 something cards. So anyway, the good people of the internet on Reddit went ahead and created these albums where you could go through and you could actually look at these cards. I'm going to go ahead and put all of this in the description of the video. If you want to more thoroughly go through these cards, if you want to look through them more than I'm going to talk about them, I'm going to talk about the cards that your wallet likes the most. But first, before we do, I kind of want to show you that there's a yin to the yang. And for anybody who thinks, oh my gosh, there's so many good reprints, well, just know that if you're lucky enough to pull a card from the list, it has to be one of the good cards. Here's a brief song of all the worst cards that you could pull from the list. Fiery Justice, Willow, Dryad, Stone Rain, Pounce, Sing, Shore, Shark, showcase version. Moon, Mist, and Murderous Cut. Chemist's Insight also sucks. Crown of Empires, Vanguard of Brimaz, Battle of Wits, like what the hell. Pegasus Stampede, Root Runner, Clearwater Goblet, Hutuo, just don't know how to pronounce that. Retreat to Coral Helm, Tuk Tuk just got a reprint. Voracious Dragon, Shuriken and Plated Geopede. Annex was just printed as well. Muscle Sliver, Solitary Monk, Amiria Angel and Cradle Guard, Tamio's Journal, Kanzandu Blade Master, Snubhorn Sentry, Army Ants. Actually, I really do like Army Ants, but that's just me. Hideous Sigu, Second Right, Yava Maya Scion, Trusty Machete and Golden Glow Moth, Warp World and Lothos. Actually, Lorthos. Lorthos is a really bad mythic to pull. It's not pronounced Lothos. Anyway, that's the song I wrote for you. Now you know and have an idea of all the cards that are worth like less than $1. And there's more of them. I just didn't want that list to be super long. So now let's talk about 20 cards that are awesome to pull. So this is going to start with Angel's Grace and it's going to go all the way up to Scroll Rack. And I think it is important that I tell you this as well. Essentially, the way that this math breaks down, or the way that we thought the math was going to break down, was that the odds of getting any single card out of a booster, given that there are 300 cards on the list. So say you wanted to only pull Angel's Grace. The odds of only pulling an Angel's Grace would be 1 in 1200. Now, those aren't very good odds, but, bear with me. You would divide that number by 20 to have an idea of what the odds would be of pulling any of these 20 cards. Now, this is assuming that these are truly random. So all of this math is theoretical, and I'm even getting messages from the team right now, talking to me about how, with today's spoilers and today's information, it's looking like it's not going to be truly random. And the way that I kind of think about this is in mystery boosters. In mystery boosters, that foil slot was truly random. So you would have some boxes where you would just get like 10 plus foil rares just because that foil slot was all over the place. Now, if these are seeded in a similar way, you could have some really explosive boxes, but based on what I'm hearing, this is going to make the odds of pulling any one particular card even worse. So essentially what this comes down to is if you're opening any single set booster, you have a 1 in 60 chance of pulling one of these 20 cards that are going to be worth $20 or more off the list. And that doesn't even take into account all of the other cards that are in the pack, in the set booster pack. These packs are going to retail for anywhere between $5 and $8, I'm guessing. If it's a really big product, then maybe it's going to retail for more. If local game stores think they can make more money off it, keep in mind this item is print to demand. That's what people are saying. And people are thinking that some cards are going to be added to the list. So if you're lucky enough to pull one of these cards, then great. But the general idea and the general consensus is do not chase cards on the list. Don't open this product in mass chasing cards off the list. And with that said, this was the math. And the way this is done is you take 20 cards that are worth $20 or more, divide it by 300, which is the amount of cards on the list. You multiply that by a 1 in 4 chance because only 25% of set boosters are going to have a card from the list. And that number is rough as well. I don't know if any of these odds have been 100% disclosed. So what it comes down to is if you are opening a pack of set boosters, your odds of pulling one of these 20 cards that are going to be worth $20 or more is 1.66% chance repeating, but now I'm getting new information that number may actually be worse. Don't chase the list. If you're opening set boosters for fun, for draft, if you're lucky enough to open one of these cards, then great, but it's not going to be like any other set where you can chase these cards or realistically expect to open them. These boxes of set boosters have an odd number of packs. They have 30 packs, so it's not like 36, it's not like 24. It's right in the middle. Cards from the list are only going to appear in about 25% of these boosters. So let's talk about the best cards that are reprinted on the list. There's also, and I just want to say this, there's a bunch of cards that didn't even make it on this list, like Isochron Scepter, Mogcatcher, Lord of the Undead, Panharmonicon, Colonian Hydra. Some of these cards are like $15. Muldrotha, Dryad Arbor, Monastery Mentor, Erratic Portal, Phyrexian Obliterator. Phyrexian Obliterator, $19 card. It didn't make the list. Most everything, we're talking about the 20 best cards on here. So, I mean, you need to go through, you need to educate yourself, and you need to look at the list yourself. Aloro, Omnath, Locus of Rage. These are all cards that didn't make it on the list. And then there's even cheaper cards like Skull Clamp that, are in like the $5 range. There's a lot of great $3 cards as well. That 3 to 10 range has some good hits as well. Those cards are not on this list because I want to keep it at 20. Angel's Grace. You can see here, kind of had a bit of a spike. I imagine this has to be related to CEDH. I mean, it's very mana efficient, split second. You can't lose the game this turn and your opponents can't win the game this turn. Until end of turn, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. So great card, buys you a turn. Let's keep it going. Temporal Manipulation, and just so you know, I have all of the additions pulled as to what was revealed on the list. So if you're looking at Temporal Manipulation from Ultimate Masters, just know that's the version that is printed in this. Now, this card, not super duper impactful. You could see here, it was an $85 card before the reprint was announced here in Ultimate Masters in December of 2018. Wow, time flies. But you could still see about a nice $20 card, and you're not going to hate pulling this. I mean, it's an excellent card as well. Then we have Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, Scarcity. You can see this is the only printing of the card. So when you look at it from that perspective, a lot of this is just, it's a popular card that there aren't a lot of copies in the in circulation. However, at the rate at which it is expected that we're going to see these, a lot of people are not expecting, and that's one of the conversations on MTG Finance and that subreddit, is a lot of people are not thinking that the needle is really going to move on these because they're really, really hard to get. Cryptic Command, another multi-format all-star. You can see it does have a lot of different printings, but a lot of different decks want this. EDH wants it, Constructed wants it, Modern loves this card. 3 blue, 1 other, choose 2, counter target spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand, tap all creatures your opponents control, or draw a card. Countering a spell and drawing a card is a big deal. Returning a permanent, drawing a card is a big deal. Tapping all creatures your opponents control, geez, at their EOT, drawing a card, pretty good. There's a reason why Cryptic Command maintains that price point. It's just versatile. Cards that have that versatility, man, that's what it's about. Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, and this is the Rise of Eldrazi version, which is pretty sweet. One of those cards that, again, has had a lot of printings. This is one of those cards that's always a nice chase mythic. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's a 15/15. It's Emrakul. People like it. People like the big cards, man. Again, this card has a lot of different applications, right around that $28 average. Market price is what we're really going to look at the most, though, so about a $22 card there. Then we have the Chain Veil, only printing of the card, so another card that's scarce, so keep that in mind. But this is one of those cards that has really, really grown in popularity. In EDH, we're finally seeing a reprinting of the card. I mean, when you think about this in like a Traxa or something like that, I mean, it's a pretty big deal. But again, scarcity. So finally, we're getting a reprinting on Chain Veil. We've needed it. However, when I do say it's a reprinting, I don't want you to think that it's going to be a meaningful reprint, like it's being reprinted at a mythic rarity in the new Magic the Gathering set. This is an interesting inclusion as well. Brazen Borrower Showcase version. So this card has been very impactful in multiple formats as well. It's a beast in Standard. It's great in Pioneer. I know that people in Modern had started playing it. I don't know if it made its way to Legacy, but again, a really good card. Multiple things that you can do on this card. So you get an effect, and then you also get a body later on. Also, it has flash, so it can do silly things. You see the market of this is right on around $26.19. Command Beacon, printed as a Judge promo as well, so we're not even going to really, look at that one. This has had one printing, and it was in Commander 2015. Look what it does. It floats colorless mana, and then you can also put your commander into your hand from the command zone if you sacrifice this. If you're playing something like Crucible of Worlds, Ramenup, Excavator, you can get it back. But once your commander's been removed a lot of times, you look for different ways to cheat the commander in. This is one of them. It's why the card is so expensive. We're finally seeing a reprint, albeit not a meaningful one for the card. Hopefully this will pop up in another commander deck in the future. Phyrexian Tower, the Urza Saga version. So we did see Phyrexian Tower reprinted, but not in this old OG art. So this is really cool to see, and it's such a great card as well. Sacrifice a creature to add 2 black to your mana pool. Also, it has the versatility of being able to float colorless mana as well, or wastes. Printed in Ultimate Masters, but now has kind of ticked back up since it's reprinting. Great card. Chromas Memorial, 7-cost artifact. Creatures you control have flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black, and protection from red. I mean, I really like, from a casual EDH standpoint, for a card, again, that is scarce. Other sets only printed in Magic 2013 at Mythic. The price makes sense to me. Just like EDH players just love this kind of stuff. It's like, what is a big, huge artifact that I could do at the end of the game that gives all my team a bunch of great stuff? And I think it's a casual card. I'm sure that some people might have a more competitive application for it, but you can just see what scarcity does to the price of a card. When there's only a couple printings and it's a big splashy EDH card, those are the kind of cards that go up in price. Now this multi-format, Pact of Negation, the Masters 25 version, great card as well. Market average around 32 on this. This is excellent in EDH. This is excellent in Modern. You can see it's played in Ad Nauseam combo, Amulet combo. Again, an invocation in 2 reprints. So we had the OG, then we have Modern Masters, and then we have Masters 25. But it's one of those cards, it's free. Free is a big deal. I mean, you have to pay for it next turn, but free now, pay you later. That's what players like. We have Primal Vigor here, another card with only 1 printing, so you're looking at scarcity again. But an excellent reprint. We do look for cards that are scarce when there are reprints. Primal Vigor here, around a $33 market average. EDH, man. If 1 or more tokens would be put onto the battlefield, twice that many of those tokens are put onto the battlefield. Need I say more? It's Another card that's going to run alongside something like Doubling Season. It is just good. Good, good, good. And it's an enchantment. Those enchantments are sticky. They're hard to get rid of. And we're talking about another enchantment here, land tax. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls more lands than you may search your library for up to 3 basic land cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. This is like the best card for somebody who goes last in the pod. I mean, land tax is a great card. And you can even see, I mean, a lot of these are the championship deck, but you could just see like how powerful a card this was. It was in so many championship decks, and then also a lot of reprintings, and despite the fact that it has a lot of reprintings, we still see that market price of around $36. So land tax, another card that's really good, really notable, but not a super meaningful reprint. But fret not, it was just reprinted in Double Masters, so go buy that version. Buy it now if you're looking for a land tax. Another card, super impactful, Enlightened Tutor, mana efficient. CEDH loves this card. EDH loves this card. Search your library for an artifact or enchantment card and reveal that card to all players. Shuffle your library and put the reveal card back on top of it. EOT, Enlightened Tutor, search up premium removal, search up big splashy enchantment or artifact to help me win the game late. It needs a reprint. It was reprinted in Eternal Masters in a different art, but I'm happy to see this card. Next, we have Skitherix, also just reprinted in Double Masters. We were just talking about Double Masters reprints, and now we see it here in Skitherix again. So another opportunity to get this card. This time the Scars of Mirrodin version, the OG version of the card, shows up. Only 3 printings ever. This is going to be the 3rd printing of Skitherix. Really cool card, big infect finisher, has regenerate on it as well. This is the kind of card that, oh man, if you pulled this in draft, you were probably winning the draft every single time you got it. That regenerate is a pretty big deal, and EDH loves that. You can see the card already starting to dip here. That's what scarcity does. Scarcity causes, like, as more of these go into circulation, the price will go down. That's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing for people who want the cards in hand. And another card here. This is the 2nd printing and not a meaningful reprinting of Training Grounds. And this is one of those cards that was so cheap. Like, oh my gosh, I want to go back to like, look at it. Look at it. 2012, it was $1. And look how strong it is. It's just so obvious. 1 blue. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost up to 2 less to activate. When you think of any commander that has an activated cost that is blue, this card is so good. And again, scarcity. $40 card now. Oh man, you could have bought these up, and I bet a lot of people did. Once they saw how impactful this card was in EDH, Training Grounds was one of those cards that was just, for me, it was hidden in plain sight. I played against it all the time. I never really thought it would spike, but you know, you look at it now, hugely efficient enchantment, amazing converted mana cost on this card. It just makes sense. And hindsight is 2020, you know, this huge spike, and I'm sure people were like, oh my gosh, you know, in 2017, Training Grounds just spiked from like 7 to 13. Oh my God. FOMO. And then it just kind of maintains into 2018 until there's another spike in 2019 and then 2020. And we see where the card is now. So a really good card to be getting a reprint. Again, not many of these going into circulation. So is it going to move the needle on this price? Probably not much. However, I will say to you, make sure that you have notifications set, because this price will take a dip when this card is being opened in set boosters. People who don't need it, or people who open 2, people who crack a bunch of packs and then go, why did I buy all those? I need to sell some of these cards back to recoup. I didn't open the foil Force of Will showcase. Oh God, I need to sell some of these cards back. And in that window of time, you'll be able to find a good price for some of these cards. Next, we have Cruel Tutor, another card that's scarce. 1 printing ever. I actually have a Cruel Tutor. I acquired it years ago for like $18 when I was playing Wart in EDH. I was like, I like having tutors. I want to have all the coolest tutor cards. Well, Cruel Tutor is one of those cards that is, it's pretty bad in my opinion. It is a 3-cost tutor, so it's not as bad as cards like Diabolic Tutor, but it's not as good as cards like Demonic Tutor or Vampiric Tutor. And then the fact that it's sorcery speed, you're searching and putting that card on top of your library. I mean, unless you have something out that's giving all of your spells flash, or like Teferi, I really don't like tutors that put the card on top. So like Liliana Vess is kind of a bummer to me. This card, it sits in a binder. to be completely honest, I just don't really play it anymore. It's just a little bit slow. And then you lose life on top of that. You compare this to something like Vampiric and it's just like strictly a million times worse. Anyway, scarcity. Renin 6, the headliner for Modern Horizons 1. One printing ever. We're seeing another printing for Renin 6. Get hyped. When this card originally came out, oh my gosh, it got as high as $100. I remember Renin 6 easily on eBay being over $100. I don't know if any of those sold, but really good card. Mana efficient, played in Legacy. I'm pretty sure it got banned in Legacy, which is why I'm not seeing it in any Legacy decks here. But you do see played to great effect in Modern, and also Vintage likes it as well. Great card, return up to one target land card from your graveyard to your hand. So get back the fetch lands in EDH that you've already used, continue to thin out the deck, get back the versatile lands like Wasteland, Field of Ruin, Strip Mine, Dust Bowl, all of that kind of stuff. Use them again. The 1 damage to any target can be oddly relevant when you're picking off mana dorks. Anything with a 1 toughness. Let's move on to Food Chain. This is a card that is a combo card. It is played in Legacy, in Food Chain, and it's also played in EDH. EDH loves it. Remove a creature you control from the game. Again, it's another enchantment. Land tax, Training Grounds, Legendary Artifact, lands. Most of the best cards here, there are some big creatures, there are some impactful instant speed spells, but most of the best cards here are big artifacts, lands, and enchantments. Food Chain is no different. 1 green, 2 other. Remove a creature you control from the game. Add X mana of any color to your mana pool, where X is the removed creature's converted mana cost +1. This mana may be spent only to cast creature spells. Big moves here. Just looking at Food Chain, here are some of the top commanders that it's played in. Khazur and Ukima, which is proving to be a really good combo deck. It's played in Prosh as well. It's in a lot of popular commanders. Omnath Locus of Creation already getting some decks as well. It's played in there. But it's just one of these cards where it's just extra stuff. Add X mana +1. And then finally, let's go ahead and talk about Scroll Rack. They are reprinting the Tempest version. So one of the most powerful cards, in my opinion, that isn't on the reserve list, that was printed from the time of the reserve list. Another card that has had only a few printings, the Masterpiece version, which is very outrageously priced, the Commander's Arsenal version, which is $100 by itself, and then a World Championship deck version, which is not legal. Great EDH card. That's where we love Scroll Rack. For 2, you're getting an artifact that for 1 you can activate. Choose any number of cards in your hand and set those cards aside. Put an equal number of those cards on top of your library into your hand. Then put the cards set aside this way on top of your library in any order. So it's really just, it is such a fun and well-designed card. It's like a Scroll Rack. You're sorting through, you're putting stuff on top, you're grabbing what you need. It's a great card. It's mana efficient. It has a high price because of scarcity. We're getting a reprint now in Set Boosters. Zendikar Rising on the list. Will it be impactful? Is it going to move the needle? I don't really think that it is. If there's any cards I missed, please leave it in the comments. I want to talk about it. I did my best to be diligent. Some stuff that we didn't really talk about, some of these full art cards here that we didn't really go over. You could see cards like Bloodghast that we didn't even talk about. The Plains is here from Unglued. So when you think about that, there's like interesting stuff to open on the list if you're lucky enough to open something on the list. If you're hoping to pull any particular card, or if you're going to open a bunch of these set boosters with the thought that, oh my gosh, I'm going to pull all the cards from the list. Just stop before you even do it. Just set that money aside, buy these singles as they hit the market. Again, I just talked to you about scarcity on so many of these cards. So just be smart. Be smart. Set that money aside. You're going to be able to find some of these cards for a fraction of the price that they currently are. The only other thing I want to talk about is production updates. Due to the production issues, some Zendikar Rising and Commander Legends products will experience delays at launch. This was posted yesterday on September 9th. Initial allocations of Zendikar Rising will be arriving in North American locations in 2 waves. The first wave will be at the intended launch on September 25th. The second wave will arrive in stores 7 to 10 days after the first wave's launch. As a result, some locations may experience limited availability until the second wave arrives. Additionally, Zendikar Rising bundles in North America and the Asia Pacific region will be delayed and will arrive in stores as soon as possible. They are unlikely to be available at launch. Production delays have also pushed back the release of Commander Legends Collector Boosters, which will now release November 20th. This shift only affects Collector Boosters. All other Commander Legends products are still on track to release November 6th. However, in the Asia Pacific region, Commander decks associated with Commander Legends will be released on November 20th. I'm going to put this in the description if you want to go in there and read it. Finally, regarding Jumpstart, there's a small update as well. I hope this video has been enlightening. I hope it has helped inform you on this product. I think I've covered all my bases. If there's something I missed, leave it in the comments. I will talk to you there. Until next time, I'm Jake with Jake and Joel Are Magic. I'll see you on the flippity.